I've built a business that's paying me even when I don't work, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can do it too and how you can copy it. Because if you're in sales, if you're a VA, if you're a content creator, you're only getting paid when you're making money. And I'm not talking about a business model like e-commerce or trading or whatever. These things just take too much of your time. The margins are small. It's not the best model to choose, especially if you're going into 2026 wanting to change your life, wanting to get freedom, wanting to work from wherever you are, wanting to do something else than being stuck in trading your time for money and not trading your money for time, or even getting money without doing anything. And it's not because you're not doing anything, it's because you're building systems in the right way. So let me take you through the entire process so you can copy me and you can start doing this for yourself. So what's the business model that I use that pays me when I don't work? So I scale businesses through the sales side. I manage their sales, I manage their automations, I manage their systems. I do everything they might need for sales. And for this, they pay me a retainer, they pay me a setup fee, or they pay me RevShare. RevShare and retainer go hand in hand. Setup fee and RevShare go hand in hand as well. I ask 6K for setup fee, and I ask 20% of RevShare on top of closers and setters. So what happens when an offer makes 100K? I'm there for 6K already. So the first month, if nothing comes in, I made 6K. Then we're doing 100K a month. From that 100K a month, 20% ends up in my pocket as well. If I then scale them the next month to 200K, another 100K is added. So my rev share goes from 20K to 40K. And this compounds. So when you grow a business, you will profit with them instead of them profiting and you being stuck on retainer basis. So like I said before, I've built a business that pays me even when I don't work. And here you can see my cash collected monthly from an offer. So I'm putting 24K, 24K, 22, 27, 22, 23, 28, 21, 28, 23, 22, 6, because this month hasn't been finished yet because that's now. So over this year, I've made nearly 300K off of this offer alone. And you can see that this works weekly as well. And 1 week I made 7.25K. That's 3 weeks ago, and it got paid. So here you see that my commissions got paid through Stripe. All right, let's dive into it, because the monetary side of things is amazing, because you can make a lot of money with this. But the biggest thing is that you really need to build a system around it, and you need to understand how you do this, because if you don't understand how to do this, you're essentially not getting anywhere. So what is this model? I compare it with some different things, but I'll take you through it. So this isn't about closing, it's about building systems, a modular sales engine you control. So you're effectively controlling the entire sales engine. You're controlling the sales team of a business. So you've got to shift your mindset. You're not a setter, you're not a closer, and you're definitely not a sales manager either. You are the revenue machine, because without you, people are not making any money. I call it a RevStack. So RevStack essentially it's a remote sales system you install in other businesses to drive revenue. You recruit the team, you install the systems, and you plug and play into offers. These offers pay you rev share. So you get a part of the revenue you're responsible for. And you own this system instead of being in the system. So you're not in the system anymore, you own the system. So you control data tracking, you control the sales team, you control the CRM, and you control the workflows. So your clients don't want just sales rep, they want structure, they want the right systems, they want their team to perform and make them more money. They want revenue clarity instead of resetting every month, because they want to have a team that does consistently every single month, because they're responsible for the lead flow. You're responsible, your sales team, your systems are responsible for making sure that money gets in every single time. Because if you're doing, for example, 40% conversion rate, then your founder, your client knows that if I bring in 100 leads, 40 of those leads are going to be closed, and they want you to run it because your RevStack scales them essentially. You are the infrastructure system and you are the plug and play growth engine. So your model, you're going to be plugging into offers. You're going to install ops, take rev share, take retainer, build and repeat. This is exactly what I do. I have built the systems. An offer is looking for someone to handle their sales, or an offer is looking for someone to make sure their business is running well. And that's where I come in. I plug in these systems that have proven to work, over $25 million in revenue for all kinds of offers. And I plug it into their business because they know it's going to make them more money, and it takes their time off of preparing everything for sales and doing everything for sales. But you have to keep in mind that this is not an agency, because you're not working for for someone, you're working with someone to grow their business. And whenever you grow someone's business, usually you just get paid a retainer and that's it. You grow their business, they make a fuck ton more money, and you're just left there with like 3K a month. But you get paid to install the systems that work, not to show up and beg for commission. You'll get paid on every single deal that is made without you being the person who makes the deal. All right, so the RevStack flywheel, how does this actually work? You're going to launch, run, optimize, scale, build once, and improve forever. So there's 4 phases. And the first phase is offer, plug into profit. So you're going to be looking for 2K plus high ticket offers with call-based sales with an inbound lead flow and broken or missing sales ops. And in phase 1, you've got a couple deliverables. So outreach scripts, rev share and retainer contract, a pitch deck, offer onboarding doc, and payment terms locked in. So this is for you essentially. These are things you have to prepare to make sure you can get those clients in phase 1. Okay, so let's continue to phase 2. This is where ops comes to work, and you're going to build the engine because you're going to recruit the closers and setters you want in your team. You want your team to be established before you start work. You set up your CRM and your pipeline. You create your daily huddle rhythm with the team you've just established. You install the automations into the offer and you train the team on offer objections. So for example, if you're in a sales offer, when you're in a sales offer, there's going to be objections like, yeah, I don't know if I want to speak to people. I don't know if this is something for me. I'd rather be in the back end. So you train your team on handling those objections. And in phase 2, you've got a couple deliverables as well. And this is more for your client and more for your team. You need to have your tech stack live. So your automations, your CRM, your call recorders, everything basically. And you have the call review workflow because you need to review every single call your team makes because you want to optimize your team continuously. The CRM and dashboard needs to be visible to the client because your client shouldn't be asking you every single minute like, hey, how are we doing? What are we doing? They need to be able to see it in one dashboard. And your lead routing needs to be functional. For example, you join an offer with 50 leads a day, 50 inbound leads, and all of these 50 guys have booked a call. You can't be running this with one closure because 50 calls is not going to happen with one closure. So you have to have proper lead routing. A lead router should send the leads towards different reps. So these reps can take the calls that are appointed to them. And there should be notifications live because we're chasing dopamine, we're making a competition out of it, and we need to know what's happening. Phase 3. Optimize and fix bottlenecks. So in phase 3, you're going to look at closers and setters. If they underperform, you skip them, you replace them. Don't give 2 fucks about it. You replace them immediately. After you've given them a warning, replace them. If there's a low show-up rate, you need to fix a low show-up rate. How are you going to do this? You're going to implement some pre-call SOPs. You're going to implement in your sales system that there's an email being sent out. Hey, you've booked a call with XYZ and you're going to do this and this and this. Make sure you're there. Make sure you're prepared. More CRM clarity. This usually shows up after the first 50 deals or something, because if you've got 50 deals, there is loads of people in the CRM and there's loads of moving parts. So you need to optimize this. There's also going to be nervous clients within your first month because like every business, in the first month, you're not going to make $100,000. You need to optimize, you need to improve, and you need to be able to make your clients feel at ease and not being nervous. So explain to them what's happening, explain to them what's going to happen, explain to them that you're optimizing, you're making sure everything works well. You can also run into low deal size. And if you have low deal size, so for example, you close on terms only and not in PIFs, it's likely because of bad framing in the front end. Because if there's bad framing, people will not be open to spend more money than they were thinking about. So the phase 3 deliverables are the weekly performance report for your reps, for your setters, for your VAs, for everything basically. You update the scripts and SOPs based on the findings you have in phase 3. Issue tracker and review log. So you review your reps, you log that in Airtable, for example, and you continue doing that. Then you need to have clear win reports for the client. So for example, this week we increased our conversion rate by 4% because we did X, Y, and Z. This week we collected 15K because your lead generation was good and our sales team is optimizing and handling it. I always advise to do one SOP upgrade per week, because every week there's something you run into. So optimize every single week. I've got 2 bonuses. So mistakes to avoid when starting with this is you're not becoming the closer, you have loyalty weak reps, and you have no documentation when you try to rebuild. So documentate everything you're doing. Make sure your reps are super loyal because you're good for them. They will be good for you, and don't become the closer. You need to be the guy in the back end. Don't take any calls, just make the team do it. Then scaling before optimizing. Don't scale your team, don't scale the lead flow, don't scale anything before you're you're optimized and you don't see any more leak. Because with more volume, there's going to be more leak. Don't pick weak offers. You're not going to pick an offer that sells for $1,500 and doesn't sell a single fucking thing. No reporting is by client, so make sure you fucking report what happens every single day. Make them an automated message, send them whatever. And then in phase 4, scale, duplicate, and expand. So when you're expanding, you're going to add setters and closers. When you expand, you're going to increase pipeline volume. When you expand, you're going to negotiate better terms. When you expand, add organic or paid functions. So for example, start running ads, start running organic campaigns, negotiate better terms because, for example, you've scaled them to 100K. Okay, we're at 100K right now. I used to be a 10% commission. Now I want 12.5 because I gave you 100K more in your pocket. When you're going to be duplicating, you're going to clone the system for a new offer, plug in a new team, run 2 to 3 RevStacks in parallel, scale across niches. So for example, you're doing really well on this info business offer. You're going to scale into another info business offer because you have the results to prove that you're doing well in the info business space. Same goes with SaaS, same goes with agency. You have a couple deliverables as well with phase 4. You have a hiring tracker, you have a duplicate, you need to duplicate SOP templates, you have an expansion tracker, funnel audit checklist, and new offer team. So this is what you do for the RevStack flywheel. So if you're going to expand, use these things. This is the RevStack lifecycle because once it works, you repeat it smarter, faster, and more profitable every single time because you've proven that it works once, so you just have to copy and paste it into a different offer. That's it. There's a couple niches you can choose because right now you really want to start. You know, I want to start doing this, but where the fuck do I even start? You start by choosing your niche, not your soulmate, just your first fucking paycheck. This is the person who's going to pay you your first rev share. There's a couple niches: coaching and consulting, SaaS, high-ticket services, and agencies. These are the ones that I find most profitable to work the best. Coaching and consulting, they sell business coaching, health coaching, mindset, creator education, one-on-one, group course, programs, whatever. And it's usually 2 to 20K. This works because it's high ticket, there's high need, and there's high volume. It's easy to find, just open your fucking Instagram and start scrolling. Everyone is trying to sell you something. They often have messy sales ops and are completely reliant on them because if their closers don't close, they're not making any money because there's usually no monthly recurring revenue. So what you're going to be solving for these specific clients is there's no CRM call reviews or weak versions. So you're going to optimize and improve this. They're ghosted by closers. They have a high rotation rate because usually these businesses, they rotate setters every fucking week because either the setter doesn't want to work or the setter doesn't think they're good enough for the offer, etc., etc. So management is really key there. Founders are doing too much in this business as well. They're doing content, they're doing sales, they're doing delivery, they're doing ops, they're doing automations, they're doing everything they potentially could do, but on a much weaker level than when they would hone in on one single thing. So you're going to take that stress away from them by making sure you handle sales and everything around that. For SaaS, there's a couple things they sell. So they sell B2B tools. They might be 200 to 2K a month. They have annual plans, demo-based sales, monthly plans, and usually also some one-time purchases. Why this works? Because there's recurring revenue because of plans. If you close someone on a 2K a month retainer, then you will get your commission every single month on that retainer as long as the client lasts. Founders are really product focused. They care about their products and their services as a fucking baby. So they're not sales led. They might even get butthurt when someone says, yeah, I'm not going to buy this because it's not for me. They feel butthurt because it's their soul. They're funded or bootstrapped, and that's a cash flow issue. So what you're going to be solving is there's going to be missed demos or ineffective demos. You're going to hone in on these demos and make them more effective, make people show up, make people purchase on these demos. There's no follow-up process or high result rate for SOPs. So this is what we need to fix as well. There's no rep training or CRM since they're too product focused. I forgot to tell you about the red flags for the coaching business. They fake scarcity, and it's usually created for pure marketing because essentially a digital product can be copied and pasted every single time. When there's coaching involved, this is not the case. When they're doing coaching and the founder is still coaching the people, there is genuine scarcity. Usually they have no lead flow or lead flow solely relying on the personal brand. So if the lead flow relies on a personal brand and the founder decides to not give a fuck about content for a week, you're not going to have any leads and you're not going to be selling. So pick one that's consistent in content. These are usually a bit harder to frame consumers on ROI because return on investment is hard to say because you can't guarantee any results. You can't guarantee any specific outcome because you're selling them a dream. So keep this in mind. The potential red flags with SaaS though is they're in a too early stage. So what happens is there's no proof of concept, no social proof, and you're essentially selling what the founder, what the team thinks about the product, not what has been proven to work. And the founder just wants to test sometimes as well. They just want to see, hey, how does this work in the market? Is there any people interested? And they're not looking to sell hard. They want the product to sell itself, but usually not how it works. So there could be no traffic, and usually these require high intensity marketing. Look at perspective funnels, for example. They are full Polygon marketing. There's thousands of ads from them. So be careful when you choose. Agencies. These are good. These are nice. These are easy to get into. They are good to get into. And there's a lot of agencies out there that want you to help them with sales. They sell paid ads, UGC, branding, SEO, copywriting, automations, and they usually have retainers or packages. So what they would do is they would have a package or a retainer for 2 to 10K a month or a one-time purchase. Why this works? So why does it work for you to get into their business and start selling for them? Well, they hate selling and having to convince people because they are in an operator mindset. They are not in a selling mindset or in a founder mindset. They're usually setter heavy and not a lot of closers. So usually they have a couple setters and the setters plan in some calls, and then the closers are actually the founders. So they're still bottlenecked by having to take sales calls themselves. There's a high lead flow, but low conversion due to high supply. That's the difference. That's the biggest issue, because there's a high supply in agencies. You know it. You see 10 ads a day of ad agencies trying to sell you something. So what you solve? Founder closing deals badly or not at all. So a lot of founders with these agencies can't close for shit. So that's what you solve. There's no pitch deck, there's no clear USPs, and there's no sales script. They basically, they just sell on whatever they think is good in that particular call, but there needs to be a good structure. So if there's a good structure, you have clear things you can optimize. There's disorganized inbound flow and warm intro calls, etc. So they're mostly reliant on warm intro calls because, hey, I did this for this business. So yeah, that's why you should pick me as well. Potential red flags. So like low pricing, less than a K per person, per purchase. So let's say one of their things is 1K. If their product is 1K and you get 10% commission, do the math, you get $100. You have to sell 30 of these to get to 3K a month. You have to sell 300 of these. You have to sell 100 of these to get to 30K. You have to sell 1,000 of these to get to 300K. And sometimes there's poor fulfillment as well, like due to a different project each time, because their projects change every fucking week. Like this week they're working on OnlyFans management business. The other week they're working on a sales agency. And the other week they're working on some painter trying to get more clients, or some bricklayer trying to get more bricklaying clients. It's a bit too differentiating. And they're only relying on one platform. So for example, Facebook ads or word to mouth. And this is bad for the lead flow. You'll encounter this when you're not getting enough calls. So high ticket services, podcast editing, recruiting, VA agencies, B2B consulting. They're often subscription-based or project-based. This works really well to put a RevStack into because these are real offers. They're less saturated because they're super specific. They have money, but they need ops because they're only executing. They're not targeted by every sales pro there is, because every sales pro is going to go for SaaS or for agencies or for coaching businesses, but they are not going to go for high-ticket services as much because they're not as aware of these things. So what are you going to be solving for the high-ticket services? They usually have no or unclear CRM that isn't customized. They just took one from Go High Level and they thought, yeah, fuck it, we'll run with this. They're usually afraid to hire reps because of the LTV per customer. The LTV per customer with them is really high. Take B2B for consulting, for example. If they're doing B2B consulting, they're going to be on a retainer for a year. So they're making, for example, 5K a month of this business B2B consulting thing. They're making 60K. You have the closer who's getting 10%, you have the setter who's getting 5%, and then there's something like 15, 20, 25, 30% for you in there as well. So what happens with this is that you essentially, they feel like they're giving away 35% of their entire income from this deal, but they don't know that the deal wouldn't be there without you. Oh well. They want sales fixed but not managed. They basically want a complete handoff. So they don't want to think like, all right, so they are going to be managing the team and I have to make sure that everything runs. No, sales isn't even in their fucking business. They don't even think about it. They have lead flow, which get transferred to a different business, yours, and then from there it will work. That's what they think and that's what they want. Potential red flags. Usually they are local only. Dentists, plumbers, handymen. They don't understand remote ops or sales. They think like everything needs to be in an office. They think oh, well, we're sitting all together, so my sales team should probably be here as well. And they don't respect sales infrastructure and just go off script. All right, so you want business consulting. Usually I do it for 4K, but today I do it for 2K because I just need the money. That's something that's potential red flag. So how to pick a niche? Use this 3-step filter. What do you understand about the niche? Where do you have access about the niche? And who has urgency to hire? So what do you understand about the niche? Is there anything you know already? Is there anything you could say about it already? And do you have access? Do you know people in this niche, or have you encountered this niche before, or whatever? And who has urgency to hire? So which business really needs someone in their business currently to make sure their sales process is up to date and does the right thing? All right, so the final thing is scaling without burning this shit down, because that's where you're going to be making the money. You need to stack more offers, but you don't sacrifice performance. Core reminder, more clients is more income. Stable stacks scale, broken ones collapse. Your first client is going to be your flagship. Your first client is going to be your fucking billboard with this is what I did for this client, and you can get it too, but you need to work with me. First step, treat each stack as a standalone machine. So a new client is a new system. You just copy what works, but it's a new system. Do not plug them into each other. Duplicate the CRM, the dashboards, the SOPs, and the framework. Avoid blend-ins, because this ruins your culture. And with avoid blend-ins, I mean, don't put the same reps you have on this offer on a different offer, because you're going to get fucked. You're the McDonald's headquarters, and stacks are the franchises. So you should see yourself as the McDonald's headquarters. And the stacks, so the businesses you're helping underneath you, are the franchises. Step 2, protect the first stack at all costs. Don't scale unless closures and setters are at 80% capacity. You have weekly reviews in there, the pipeline is stable for 4 weeks, and your client is 9 out of 10 supported. Step 3, talent first, not client first. So when you decide to scale, you decide to go for another offer, you decide to go into another niche, you decide to go all in, build a team before you close. So build a team before you have actually made the deal with the new client you want to get. Pre-vet the closers and setters so you already know they're good, they are loyal, they want to work hard, they don't think working is hard. Never pull from other stacks. So don't pull leads, don't pull closers, don't pull setters, don't pull anything from other stacks because it will influence your other stack. Don't do this. And create a bench. Create a bench with closers and setters on hand when one underperforms within your other stacks. So for example, you have a stack with an e-com offer. Make sure you have 3 or 4 closers and setters on the bench when one of these closers or setters that's in your current offer underperforms. 1 client short is bigger than 2 clients churn. So I'd much rather have 1 client short than 2 clients who walk away because I'm taking on 4 new clients this week. 4, document, duplicate, deploy. There's no scaling for memory. Make sure you make a template out of every single thing you do. Save CRM configs, store every SOP, pre-build review formats, make sure you save everything so you can just, I don't care where you put it in a fucking Notion board. Make sure you make a template, copy it, paste it. Just change the name of the client and you have everything there already, what works. And the last and final step, no noise stacking, only compounding. So ask this before you are going to be adding a stack. Does this offer compound my positioning? Does this share my ICP? Does it unlock more deals or system power? Does it make me a better RevStack owner? Now you've got the entire business model I built that pays me even when I don't work. This business model can make you hundreds of thousands of dollars. But you really need to make sure that you understand the business model, that you build a good foundation, and then you move into actually deploying it into the world. And when you've deployed it, you do that again. So you understand the offer, you understand what's happening, and you make sure you get the money in. And once everything works, then you decide to go on. Then you decide to make sure you get more offers. Then you decide to scale. So if you decide to go ahead with this business model and you think this is what I'm going to do, send me a DM on Instagram and I'll answer your questions. I'll help you out. But please make sure you set up everything before you decide to take action. Take action today by setting up and then perfect. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, send me a DM on Instagram and I'll see you there.